In this video, I want to talk to you about the power of your emotions. In the last video, we talked about the power of your thoughts, and now we're going to move on to emotions. And if you remember from our self-coaching model, which was developed by Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School, all of these work together. So I'm just going to do a brief. If you haven't watched the other video, I recommend you go back and look at the video about thoughts. But if you haven't seen it, we'll do a brief overview of the model. Basically, everything in the world can be divided up into 5 categories. It's either a circumstance, a thought, a feeling, an action, or a result. Circumstances are all the stuff that happens in the world that we can't control. When we write down a circumstance, we write down a very factual, neutral, no emotion attached circumstance. We don't say things like, my husband hates me. We would say, my husband said he hates me. If he didn't say it, you can't put that as the circumstance. You could say what your husband did, but it has to be something that would be factual. My husband didn't come home last night would be factual. You could prove it. The Ring camera never showed the husband coming in the door. That's a fact. Then we have a thought about that. We have 40,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. You're unaware of most of them. They're just sentences running through your mind. If you've ever done meditation, they teach you to kind of think of the thoughts as just floating by your awareness like clouds. Thousands of them going by. Then we have a feeling. So we have a thought, and then we have that generates a feeling. Most of us have not learned about our feelings. It's really just a chemical reaction in your body. And this is what we're going to dive deeper into in this lesson. And then we have actions. Our feelings drive our actions. The things we do or not do come from how we're feeling. So there's a circumstance in the world. We have a thought about it. That thought creates a feeling in our bodies. We take action from that feeling, and it either gets us the result we want or a result we don't want, but it's the things we are creating with those actions. So we can work this model. You could start in the middle, you can go backwards. They're all connected to each other. So back to the topic of emotions, there's a wide range of human emotions. They're all perfectly normal in our human experience. We can all probably look at these pictures of this woman and name the feelings that she's feeling. But in reality, sometimes we don't identify and listen to our own feelings. So why do we care? Why do we care about naming our feelings? Why do we care that we have feelings? Well, number one, our feelings we just talked about drive our actions. So if we're not getting the results we want, we have to look at the actions we take. And if we want to know why we're taking those actions, we have to look at the feelings. So if you did the last lesson, look back at your thought download homework, and you can our homework today will be part of pulling things out of that thought download, pulling one thought out and thinking, how does that thought make me feel when I feel that? And we'll get into that more. The other reason we should care about our feelings and our emotions and paying attention to it is everything you want in life is because of how you think it will make you feel. This is huge. Like if you want a little phrase to put up on your mirror, everything you want in life is because of how you think it will make you feel. And the converse is true as well. Everything you don't want in life is because of how you think it will make you feel if that thing happened. So think about all the things you want. You want it because you think you'll feel a certain way if you got it. The best news is you can feel that way now. So for example, weight loss. If you're wanting to weigh a certain weight, you think it's going to make you happy. It's going to bring you happiness. It's going to fix a lot of things, probably. It's probably not just the happiness. But you can use happiness now and feel that way on your journey there. And that's what actually gets you the thing you want. Sometimes we try to suffer our way to weight loss, and it gets us part of the way, but it's not sustainable. And then we lose motivation. So how you feel drives your actions. That means we have to feel differently if we're not getting the results we want. I do want to separate. Sometimes we use the word feeling to mean a sensation in our body, and sometimes we're talking about an emotion. So a feeling that I'm talking about in this lesson is interchangeable with the word emotion, and it comes from your thoughts and goes down into your body. The feeling goes to your body, but it originated in your thoughts. A sensation is an involuntary reaction that starts in your body and then goes to your mind. If you touch a hot stove, you feel hot. We use that same word, feel, but it's because something's burning your finger and it needs to tell your brain to move the finger. So feeling hot or cold, feeling hungry, physical pain, you twist your ankle and you feel pain, it started in that ankle and traveled to the brain. So just so that we're not confusing the term feelings. So this is known as an emotions wheel, feelings wheel. If you go to feelingswheel.com, you can get this and kind of blow it up bigger. A lot of us feel, we can name feelings that are in like this center circle, the basic good, bad. But if you go further out in the wheel, it gets more and more descriptive. It can help to kind of, instead of just saying I'm angry, what does that mean? Does it mean I'm let down, I'm humiliated, I'm bitter, I'm mad, I'm aggressive, I'm frustrated, I'm distant, I'm critical? So instead of just saying I'm angry, if you sit and think about what each of those words I just read means, they all mean something slightly different and might generate different actions. For example, if I'm feeling distant, I might take different actions than if I'm feeling completely humiliated. Um, if I'm just frustrated, might feel different than feeling aggressive. So those actions could be different. So if you go to that website, you can actually download a PDF that you can have or print or whatever. There's multiple versions of it. It doesn't have to be this one. But if you start drilling down into more specifics about the feeling you're feeling, it can help you further identify the actions or the thoughts that drove that feeling. You might have one feeling that makes you feel, what are some of the words? I'm going to go out into that outer layer, that make you feel betrayed versus a feeling that might make you feel numb. And they're all in that angry category. So as we get a better feelings vocabulary, we can dig deeper into why we do what we do. Do you ever have days where you just don't understand yourself? Using the self-coaching model can help you understand yourself better. And while you can do it on your own, it's really powerful to do it along with a coach, because they can see and hear things in what you're saying that maybe you don't see. Then this is sometimes what we think. We think we want to be happy all the time. I just want to be happy. Life is really a balance between the negative and the positive emotions. We know what happy is because we have experienced not happy. We've had times when we were sad or frustrated or all those words on that other part of the wheel. And then happy feels so much better. Happy all the time, you probably wouldn't even describe as happy because it would just feel like mundane, because you wouldn't have any contrast. There's also a version of how we think life should be in our heads. You have an interpretation of how it should be. Sometimes we can identify this when you're thinking about your past. You think your past should have been different, or your marriage should have been different, or your job should be different. Um, and then we add suffering to whatever that is. I'm upset because of my childhood, and now I'm upset because I'm upset. We don't need to add that unnecessary suffering. When we expect the contrast of the negative and the positive, instead of suffering about how it should have been, we have so much possibility of growth, because we're, number one, not adding suffering on top of suffering. And number two, we can kind of take it in balance. We can realize the balance and move on. There are times, going back to the topic of do we want to be happy all the time, there are times that we want to suffer. And I know that sounds weird, but if you think about it, if you lose a loved one, if a family member or somebody you care about deeply dies, you want to grieve. You want to feel that sadness that kind of is the balance to how much you loved them and how much you will miss them. So we don't want to just go through life bebopping around with a grin on our face if truly we're in a sad circumstance. We want to feel it. It's okay to feel disappointment when something you were hoping for doesn't work out. It's okay to feel discomfort when you're chasing a big goal. When I feel discomfort, it means I'm challenging myself. And the bigger goals I set, the more negative emotion I feel. And that's okay. We have to stop kind of villainizing negative emotions. Stop adding suffering to suffering. Stop being upset about being upset. And realize that those feelings are okay. And we can learn to handle them better than maybe we have in the past. One thing we tend to do is something called buffering. These are actions we do in order not to feel. We don't want to feel, we want to numb out, we do buffering. These are things that are false pleasure. It can be overeating, over drinking, too much social media, for some people, any social media, pornography, it can be using drugs or other substances that make us artificially feel better. It can be binging TV shows. It could be over shopping. Like there's a whole list of things that we do in order to not deal with our feelings. The problem is it's just a temporary escape and they all have consequences. If I spend 8 hours after work buffering on a Netflix series, I'm going to be really tired the next morning and my next day is going to be really negative. Then you buffer more because you have done that. So we call that having a net negative consequence. It feels better in the moment to have that numbing out, but ultimately there are consequences to doing it. It compounds the problem. You had a problem, you tried to numb it, now you've added another problem. So look around, this course is all about being more aware, and you're going to be more aware of the times that you're doing this. You want to be curious. You want to notice your emotion, name it, and like I said, initially you can use words like happy, sad, angry, but I really encourage you to dig a little deeper. What do I mean by angry? Describe it. And then after you name it, describe how it feels in your body. Literally take a moment and think about, does it make me feel hot or cold? Is my heart pounding? Is my chest feel tight? Do I have flip flops in my stomach? Um, is this creating nervous energy in my body? What is this chemical reaction in my body actually manifesting in my body? The fascinating thing, the first time I had somebody walk me through this, um, we had a specific feeling that I told her I was feeling, and then she had me do this. She asked me questions, and I just talked about the feeling. And by the end of it, I didn't feel it anymore. It was a negative emotion. It was something that it was amazing to feel the process of letting it go without thinking about letting it go. I was just naming how it made my chest feel, how it made my stomach feel. Um, did I feel flushed or hot? Did it have a color? For some people, certain emotions feel red or black. Um, and those chemicals, as you do that, the chemicals in your body dissipate. Really, if you're not continuing to think thoughts that keep it going, the cortisol, the adrenaline, and all that goes through your body in about 90 seconds. Your body kind of cleans up that stuff. So it's a powerful exercise to do the next time you're having a feeling. And you can do it with positive emotions too. Like I'm having a day where I feel really joyful. What does that feel like? And feel it in your body. Because as you learn what generates joy in your body, you can generate it more. It's really fascinating when you start paying attention. So your homework for this lesson is to keep doing your thought downloads every day. So that's your brain dump. Get everything out of your head onto paper. Really recommend do it with pen and paper or a pencil and paper. Choose one thought. Name how you feel when you think that thought. So do that exercise where you recognize how that thought makes you feel, and then do the describing it in the body. Take a moment. You can close your eyes. When I feel shame, how does that feel in my body? Or when I feel resentment, what does that actually feel like in my body? Then you can think about what actions you're taking when you feel that feeling. You may understand more about why you've been taking those actions. Remember that if it's a negative emotion that you're feeling, it's okay to have the negative emotion. We don't have to put it away or avoid it. It will process through your body momentarily. As we work on discovering our thoughts and our emotions, we can then start taking action from a place of more awareness, more understanding about what's really driving our action and results. It puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you in power.